Give me a moment. Well, hi there, everybody. This is Beauty. And guess what? I got a little tap on my shoulder, and it says, do you mind reading the walnut banana bread recipe? Okay, so you're going to hear maybe some cacophony coming from the kitchen, and maybe a little bit more screaming than you would like to have. But we are about to do a read-through of the banana walnut bread recipe that is on page 184, and here's a photograph of it, the walnut banana bread recipe. Okay, and here we go with the ingredients. Are you ready? I'm going to read to you the instructions on YouTube. Yeah, instructions. We had to use all these fancy words. So we're ready. You're going to gather together all ingredients and preheat the oven to 325.
Check.
Check. You're going to butter an 8-inch by 4-inch loaf pan. Now, while he's doing that, we do use stone. Rarely do we bake a bread in a glass or even like a crock style. So I can say 99%, unless we're forced to do it in something else, our breads are made in stones and on stones. So he is buttering an 8-inch by 4-inch loaf pan right now. And we have lots of tips about how to keep your loaf pans. Also sounds like he's put a kettle on because he's probably realizing that he's either going to make a cup of tea for himself or that he knows that he needs to have a little hot water. Could be to warm the eggs up. I'm not really too sure. You let me know when you want to keep going, okay?
Well, I didn't hear you. Let me.
Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Guess what, everybody? What a special surprise. Come here. Come
Let me tell you what
here.
I've done without looking. I haven't looked at the recipe, so I can't. I'm just starting.
Everybody, meet the quiet chef.
Here's what I took out of the pantry. I took flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, salt, vanilla. I think that's all I took. Then I got butter and eggs. I warmed up the eggs in my pocket. And butter too. And then I got 4 bananas. It's supposed to be 3, I think, but I got 4 because we had 4. And these were solid black bananas on the outside.
Yeah. But
the inside, they were still white. I mean, they smell a little bit like banana schnapps. I don't know if they make that, but this makes the best banana bread, so I'm not worried about it. So I'm mashing up the bananas with some vanilla
in a little stainless bowl,
and some little tiny bit of milk.
Huh.
I don't know what the recipe calls for, but I put like a tablespoon in.
Right, that's what it calls for.
Oh, great.
Yep.
And then I mixed together 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of baking powder. Is that right, or is it 2.5 cups of flour?
On the flour, you have 2 cups.
Okay, so that's right so far.
Yep.
So I'm going to whisk that up.
Right.
Then
we'll stop for just a moment, because why are the dry ingredients important to like sift through and make sure that you get?
Well, the best way to do it, just put the flour in the bowl. Get a stainless bowl, put the flour in, add the other 3 ingredients on top, and then just whisk it. So you're whisking it together so you don't get any, like a big bunch of salt and a bite of banana bread.
That's right.
And then you don't really have to sift it, because the whisk puts some air into the flour already.
And lifts everything.
And then it mixes your ingredients together, so you don't have to worry about, getting a lump of it.
Okay, and then not too long ago we had what would be called a failed rise.
I didn't cook it long enough.
Yeah.
what I did is I was watching somebody else, and they put theirs on a baking sheet, and I didn't really account for putting the stone on top of the baking sheet. It needed just a little bit longer. So, but I'm going to counteract that tonight by not using the baking sheet and cooking for a little bit longer than I did last time.
Okay, keep your voice up so people can hear you, though.
Okay,
you
well,
guys,
I got to go get I'll be back.
Okay, so he's going to be back. Isn't that fun? We actually got him to tell us about the walnut bread, the walnut banana bread. So you're actually hearing from the author himself, hearing from the quiet chef, give you some ideas about how the book was really written to encourage the inexperienced, but wanting to be a chef, wanting to, be proud of the things that are coming out of your kitchen. And so even though as beautiful as the book is, and it is, don't want to intimidate you because the recipes are just fantastic and you would really enjoy them. And as you can see, there's a real person, a real live person behind behind the cookbook. All right, so what I need to do is make sure that we are live. That would be terrible if we weren't. And let me see here. Let's go here, and then here, and then we're live. And I'll take a picture. Now what's really clever too is that if you wanted to, when we do these kind of, he just said, please read out the recipe. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do anything unless it's on YouTube. So we powered up the YouTube, and as you can see, this is the PDF of the book. And if you were so inclined, you could grab the recipe if you wanted to, right from the screen. Because we'd love it if you would subscribe to the channel and thumbs up and head over to Instagram and, opt in and all of that. But, we're cool with sharing what we know, so it'll be all good and fun like that, I think. So we'll move on to, of course, this is the recipe. And I'll go down here. This is the finished product. We got a lot of different viewpoints on the finished photography when I did this tuxedo wrapping, which was actually for a gift. And I personally really liked it, the way that it came out. But it's out of context to who received the gift and the other items that were made part of the gift. And so I know that there were a few people that they didn't like it. They thought that it was kind of out of sorts. But if I could kind of maybe rewrite the page about this, it would be, well, how do you present? What are some of the clever things that you can do if you don't have raffia and cellophane, cello wrap, or you just don't have those things, but you have a few simple things around. These are dress pins, and I picked the 2 black ones and some parchment paper. And in real life, this is a beautiful delivery. It's a very lets the receiver kind of see the gift as it is. And so anyway, I was proud of it, and also the styling in the back. This is one of our original stones. Stones do get like this over time. They actually have all this fantastic patina, and they really work well for food photography if you are styling for your cookbook. So he's back.
Okay, so what I like to do, which I don't recommend, is I like to make the recipe and then read the recipe to make sure I did it right, which really you probably shouldn't do. So I want you to read me the recipe,
Okay.
and I'm going to see if I got it right.
All right, so this is the instruction,
okay.
Right? And we know the ingredients pretty much. I think you've covered all the ingredients.
Go through them real quick.
Except for the dark chocolate chips, which I think you're going to, are you going to chop up chocolate maybe? Okay, butter for greasing the loaf pan,
Yep.
3 ripe bananas,
Yep.
1 tablespoon milk,
Yep.
1/4 teaspoon vanilla extract,
Yep.
2 cups all-purpose flour,
Yep.
1 teaspoon baking soda,
Yep.
baking powder, 1
Yep.
teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon salt,
Correct.
1/2 a cup of unsalted butter,
Yes.
3/4 of a cup sugar.
Okay.
That can be a problem when one forgets the sugar.
The sugar goes in first.
Okay, hold up. 2 large eggs, room temperature, except for you,
Got
they're
it.
pocket temps. 1 cup of chopped walnuts,
Okay.
and 1/3 cup of dark chocolate chips.
Okay.
Now, when are you ready for me to read the instructions?
In a little bit. I gotta go back.
Okay, he's going to run back in. I think maybe he did. He's covering up that he figured out on the sugar, but I can tell that he's going to go back and cover himself. It's actually in the recipe, it's probably saying that you need to whip the butter and the sugar until fluffies, which is what he's doing right now. So I can hear the mixer and everything. Okie dokes. Let me see here. So we'll go back to the picture. Right, so this is the walnut banana bread, and we're actually making it live with you guys right now, if you haven't figured that out. And so we'll be toggling back and forth between the recipe and the photograph. I think this will work out well for the thumbnail too. And remember, the Nightbot is situated for the Bitcoin, so if it clicks in, then just disregard all of that. So the walnut banana bread is part of Good Food, Fall and Winter. And in the first quarter of 2018, the book will be made available to Bitcoiners. And we're working out the details. We're going to be working very hard on the details so that we can do more campaigning called Books for Bitcoin. And so that's what you should expect. If you want to know more, maybe receive the 8 recipes and an offer for the book, make sure that you opt in. And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. You can visit chartchatconnect.com. In the most recent post, you go down below, we'll have our Upscribe opt-in. And so we are using Upscribe, which is this really cool, low-key opt-in little wonder. And so you'd opt in, and then we would be sending you an email for the very first free recipe and the story, which is for the ginger snaps and snow. And it's a story that's beautifully written, and then the recipe is just fantastic. This has been a cookie that we've made quite a lot of the ginger snap cookies. One reason is that when they're delivered to, you know, when they're wrapped up and delivered, they're just wonderful. And if you weigh them, he has a whole system of, if you weigh the cookie, you get a better cookie. And so there's nothing that's sort of, out of, oh, whatever, because he was really after perfecting the ginger snap cookie. And they're just beautiful. So you get that free recipe for starters in January with the story. And then we'll be doing 9 other, because we think, I have to count them. We think that there's something like 11 stories in the cookbook that are associated with a recipe or a series of recipes. So that's kind of what you would be getting. And it's just right from the cookbook too. It's a copy and paste of the cookbook without the photography, because the photography will be out there on Instagram or Twitter or the web page. And then, of course, if you were to order the book, then you would be getting the entire 208 incredible pages, great recipes. And you can hear Quiet is right here. If you ever had a question about anything, I would want for him to do more kind of hotline kind of stuff, because it would be really fun to just have him sit down and have questions asked and answered. And so he's in and out of the kitchen. I can hear him too, sorting some things out. So it looked to me when I walked into the kitchen this morning that he had pretty much lined everything up. We have a very tidy. The pantry that we have it's a nice pantry, and It's pretty tidy. Years ago, I did that whole invested hundreds of dollars in Tupperware. So we have I don't even know, I think they call it ice. So it's the kind of icy white and then with the black tops, and we have dozens and dozens of containers. And so when we come home from a food shop, most everything has a home inside of a Tupperware container that has to do with baking especially. So he had everything lined up, and a lot of the spices that we have too are pre-mixed. We put those in little ball jars. If you've never done that for yourself, if you do a lot of baking, it can be really fun that you pre-mix your spices. I know that we do that for the carrot cake, and it's just fun to have a pre-mix, and then you label it, and it's your own mix. And then, of course, as the spices get to kind of mix and blend together, they start to marry one another, and it really gives you this really incredible infusion to your baked goods. Just a little tip about that. So I'm waiting for him. Don't really know where he's at right now. Do you guys want me to? You guys want me to? I'll put myself on mute for just a minute. Okay. Tell us what you're doing.
You can read the recipe to me. I'm going to put the butter and sugar, get that going.
Okay, he's going to be whipping the butter and sugar. So, all right, here we go. He wants me to read the recipe. And let's get that going right now. Okie dokes, walnut banana bread recipe being read, instructions being read now on 3, 2, 1. Walnut banana bread. Gather together all ingredients and preheat the oven to 325 degrees. Butter an 8-inch by 4-inch loaf pan. In a small mixing bowl, put the peeled bananas, milk, and vanilla, mash with a fork and set aside. In a separate mixing bowl, whisk together the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, and set aside. Using a stand mixer with a paddle attachment, cream the butter and sugar until fluffy. Add the eggs one at a time, beating well after each addition. Turn off the mixer and add the flour into the mixing bowl. Turn the mixer back on low and mix until just combined. Add in the banana mixture and mix to combine. Stir in the chopped walnuts and the chocolate chips until just incorporated. Pour batter into the prepared loaf pan. Tap the pan on the counter to release any air pockets. Bake in oven for 65 to 75 minutes or until a cake tester inserted into the middle of the cake comes out clean. Allow cake to cool in the pan for 10 minutes before turning out onto a wire rack. Serve at room temperature. So where he's at right now is he is creaming the butter and the sugar right now. So probably while he ramps up the mixer, we'll go ahead and maybe put ourselves on mute for a little bit here. Hold on. He's turning the mixer up right now. All right, we'll just instead of me going on and off mic, but that's where he's at right now. Sounds like he's mixing he should be creaming the butter and the sugar until fluffy. Hold on just a moment. You know that the butter and the sugar have to be creamed until they're fluffy, right?
Right.
Okay, so Oh, I can tell you too. Another thing that really helps is if you have two, especially if you have a standing mixer, is if you have two mixing bowls. That really does help because in this recipe, of course, you've got your dry ingredients with the banana, and then you have your eggs and your sugar. So when all of those things get added together, it can help to have another mixing bowl. Okie dokes. You can hear it going. There's the mixer now. And yes, you can scroll back and you can hear from the quiet chef himself if you want to do. Trying to make this all. It's very funny.
After I put the eggs in, what do I do?
Oh, sorry.
Are you done?
No, I'm not done. After you put the eggs in, what do? Add the eggs one at a time, beating well after each addition. Turn off the mixer and add the flour into the mixing bowl. Turn the mixer back on low and mix until just combined. Add in the banana mixtures and mix to combine. Stir in the chopped walnuts and or the chocolate chips from there.
Put it in the pan?
Uh-huh. I think he's ready. Thomas put it in the pan. You need to come and talk to people, though, for a moment so that I can wrap it up, because everything after this... Okay, so he's going to be putting it in the pan right now, which means there'll be a little bit of banging going on, which I don't think is really necessary for anybody. But what we'll do, which will be really fun, is that when we're done with this recipe, we will post a photograph, won't we? Yes, we will. We'll post a photograph over at Instagram. How fun would that be? So look for that. Follow us on Instagram at Beauty Bubble Live. And let me grab the Instagram link for you guys. And that is what we'll do. We are going to do this right. We will post a picture of it and all styled up and pretty. You definitely want to follow us on Instagram. There we go. And also the link will be down below, or is in prior videos too. And we will talk to everyone soon. Thank you so much. This should be really fun. And we've done this before with the cornbread sticks. We've done it with the baking of the bread. And so what we might do is maybe put a little playlist together, just a good food playlist, so you guys can kind of see the body of work and how we interact with each other. So thank you guys very, very much. Make sure, eat well, trade well, live well. It really all falls in place with one another. Get your heads out of cardboard. You can learn how to cook for yourself. It's a wonderful experience. It does so much to enhance your life and really enrich the lives of others by knowing how to live well, cook well, more walnut banana bread for everybody. So be good to yourself. And most of all, be kind to one another. Bye-bye now.